Chapter 39. Thunderstruck. After several days of brutal fighting in the heart of St. Louis, the battle had taken a toll on both sides. Karnik, realizing that his mortar team was out of range to provide support to the remaining UCM troops and Robert's team, knew he had to make a strategic move. He radioed Robert, his voice tense and determined amongst the battle. Todd's radio buzzed. "Sidewinder to Briar Patch. We've got enemy movement southbound. Over." "Briar Patch copies, Sidewinder," Todd replied, keeping his voice steady. "Briar Patch. Advise on enemy strength and disposition. Over." "Sidewinder, we have multiple enemy regiments. Over," came Todd's voice through the crackling radio. Acknowledging the information, Karnik surveyed the battlefield from his concealed position. The Chinese troops were shifting their focus southward, likely sensing an opportunity to exploit a gap in the UCM defenses. "Roger, Briar Patch. We'll keep them busy from here. Make sure you have eyes on, and we'll drop the fireworks on their heads. Over." As Todd and his team continued to call in precision strikes on enemy positions, the battlefield resonated with the sounds of war. Explosions rocked what remained of the city, and the UCM forces fought valiantly to hold their ground while pushing forward against the retreating Chinese regiments. Karnik's voice came through the radio, a clear signal amid the noise of the battle. "This is Sidewinder, calling all units. Listen up. We've got a plan to push these Chinese forces right into our trap. Northern Light, you and your RAA troops will be crucial for this one." "Copy that, Sidewinder," replied Sam, his voice unwavering. Karnik continued. "Northern Light, your call sign says it all. I need you to be the guiding star for this operation. Move your troops south to position yourselves to the rear of the enemy's path and push them hard south. We want them to think they've got no other place to run." "Understood, Sidewinder," Sam acknowledged, his troops already in motion. "As they advance, we'll have Warhammer and his mortar team providing cover from the west," Karnik explained. "We'll let them get deep into the city before we spring the trap. Once they're committed, we'll hit them from both sides, trapping them in a crossfire." The radio buzzed with affirmations from the various units, each comprehending their role in the upcoming ambush. Karnik continued. "Remember, this is our chance to turn the tide of this battle. We've got them right where we want them. Northern Light, hold your position until Warhammer gives the signal. Northern Light, get ready for the fireworks. Sidewinder out." The plan was set, and each unit prepared for their part in the ambush. In the heart of St. Louis, among the ruins and of the ongoing battle, the UCM forces readied themselves to strike back against the Chinese invaders. Meanwhile, Sam and the RAA troops moved swiftly south from northern St. Louis, their mission clear: push the Chinese forces into the trap set by Karnik. The UCM forces prepared to ambush the enemy, waiting patiently for the right moment. Karnik, having advanced his mortar team forward to a strategic position, linked up with one of the UCM regiments. They moved forward together, ready to engage the enemy in fierce combat. Karnik's mortars were now within range, and he stood ready to rain a thunderous hammer upon the approaching Chinese forces. Sam and the RAA troops struck with calculated force, engaging the enemy on multiple fronts. The trap was set, and Chinese forces, drawn by the allure of progress south, fell right into it. Karnik's mortars added a deadly symphony to the chaos, as Todd directed their fire with deadly accuracy. With coordinates set, Karnik called back on his radio. "Warhammer, this is Sidewinder. Fire for effect. Spare nothing." The Chinese forces found themselves surrounded and outgunned. The UCM troops fought with a ferocity born of necessity, and their ambush left no room for escape. The Chinese ranks were devastated by the ruthless mortar fire, their once formidable force reduced to chaos and disarray. Amidst the tumultuous battle, the radio crackled once more, Karnik's voice filled with grim satisfaction. "Sidewinder to Briar Patch. The trap is sprung. They're breaking. Over." "Briar Patch copies, Sidewinder. Keep up the pressure and we'll make sure they don't regroup. Out." Battle raged on. The UCM forces pressed forward their advantage. The Chinese troops, disoriented and demoralized, were forced into a hasty retreat. Karnik's mortars continued to rain down upon them, a never-ending storm of destruction. In the heart of the city, the survivors of the ambush regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the battle. Todd's team, their voices steady and determined, continued to coordinate mortar strikes, ensuring that the enemy had no respite. With the ambush a resounding success and Chinese forces significantly weakened by the combined might of the UCM and their newfound weapon systems, Karnik knew it was time to press forward. His voice crackled over the radio. "Briar Patch, this is Sidewinder. Over." A response came promptly. "Go for Briar Patch. Briar Patch, any word from Briar Patch Alpha? Over." Todd, his voice tinged with worry, replied, "Negative, Sidewinder. Not for days now." Karnik knew Sam would be tuned in, so he radioed specifically to him. "Northern Lights. Continue the cleanup of remaining Chinese troops in St. Louis. Confirm orders. Over." "Roger that. Northern Light on cleanup duty. Our pleasure, Sidewinder. Over." Karnik issued his next orders crisply. "Briar Patch, move south, tracking Briar Patch Alpha. The UCM will be right behind you. Over." Karnik's heart soared as he heard Angelique's voice over the radio, a brief respite from the harsh realities of war. He longed to be with her, and her call brought a glimmer of hope that soon he would be. "Lady Luck, good to hear your voice." "Over," Karnik replied, his tone reflecting relief, that he wanted to express deeper feeling though he couldn't over an open channel. "Yours too, Sidewinder. I'm here with Condor and others. We have coordinates for the facility you are seeking. Prepare to copy." "Over," Angelique informed Karnik, her voice carrying the weight of their shared mission and to reunite in these dangerous times. Karnik readied himself to receive the vital information, knowing that this could be a pivotal moment in their fight to reclaim their city and their lives. "Lady Luck, send it over," Karnik replied, his voice tinged with anticipation. He held a pen and paper at the ready, knowing that the information Angelique was about to provide would be crucial to their mission and possibly finding Briar Patch Alpha. 38219-032, Sidewinder. How copy? Angelique's voice crackled over the radio. The numbers she recited a code to their target's location. "Good copy, Lady Luck. Over," Karnik replied with gratitude, relief washing over him as he jotted down the coordinates. Their mission was taking shape, but danger still lurked nearby. As he spotted a Chinese fighter screeched overhead, closing in on their location with its guns ready to fire, his heart raced. But to his astonishment, the threat was obliterated by an F-22 Raptor. The sudden turn of events left him in awe as he listened intently to Angelique's next transmission. "Sidewinder, we will be engaging from the shores east of that location," Angelique informed Karnik, her voice carrying a glimmer of excitement. "Sidewinder, a little good news. We now have an air force ready to carry out missions." "Lady Luck, just figured that one out for ourselves. Don't know how, but great to hear and see." "Over," Karnik replied, as it seemed a little less darkness was removed from the world as their odds were improving. "Sidewinder, stay safe." Angelique's voice conveyed her deep concern for Karnik. "The head of the snake has been located, and Condor is coordinating a mission to cut it off. Soon, this will all be behind us. Lady Luck out." Karnik acknowledged her words with a heartfelt, "Sidewinder, out," knowing that their reunion and the end of this harrowing battle were drawing closer with each passing moment. Karnik's team immediately began their push southward, each step bringing them closer to the coordinates Angelique had provided. Along the way, they encountered sporadic skirmishes with Chinese soldiers who fought fiercely to hold their ground. The landscape was scarred with the remnants of battle. As they closed in on their destination, Karnik sensed the tension in the air. They were only a mile away from the coordinates Angelique had given them, but with the radio coming to life with Todd's voice, things slowed down. "Sidewinder, this is Briar Patch, over." Karnik quickly replied, "Go for Sidewinder, over." "Sidewinder, be advised the enemy had the area heavily defended. Sidewinder out. Their progress had been slow as each person became even more cautious, not wanting to be killed so close to the possible end of this war, with every step taken under the constant threat of ambush. Suddenly, a deafening roar filled the sky, drowning out the sounds of battle. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the unmistakable sound of an A-10 Thunderbolt II, affectionately known as the Warthog, reverberated through the air. Karnak and his team instinctively sought cover, their hearts pounding in anticipation of the impending attack as Robert called for fire. The A-10 Warthog, a fearsome close air support aircraft, descended from the heavens like an avenging angel. Its massive wingspan cast a shadow over the battlefield as it lined up its deadly payload. The distinctive roar of its GAU-8 Avenger Gatling gun echoed through the air, a sound that struck fear into the hearts of the enemy. Karnak and his team watched in awe as the A-10s made its approach, its pilot navigating with precision toward a cluster of dug-in Chinese soldiers. The enemy had established a well-defined defensive position, their fortifications offering them a false sense of security. The Warthog's gun unleashed a torrent of high-velocity 30mm rounds, tearing through the earth and concrete defenses as if they were made of paper. The impact was cataclysmic, sending plumes of dust and debris into the air. Remaining Chinese soldiers, not reduced to puddles of flesh and meat, scattered in panic, their well-laid plans reduced to chaos in the face of the A-10's devastating attack. The Warthog's cannon continued to roar, with an endless stream of firepower pummeling the enemy position. Karnak's team, now emboldened by the aerial assault, seized the opportunity to advance. Chinese soldiers, disoriented and demoralized, were no match for the combined firepower of the A-10s and Karnak's UCM. Explosions blossomed in the distance as the Warthog strafed and bombed other enemy positions, clearing the way for Karnak's troops to push forward. The battlefield had transformed into a scene of destruction, a testament to the unyielding power of modern warfare. As Karnak and his team moved closer to the coordinates, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and gratitude for the A-10 Warthog and its pilot, whose timely intervention had turned what would have been a long and bloody fight into quick victory. The thunder of the Warthog's cannon had struck fear into the hearts of their enemies, and its devastating firepower had paved the way for their advance. Karnak and his men could now feel the end of battle nearing.